Hello folks, Meteorologist Jamie Kagol here with a look at the forecast. We're going to dive into yesterday, looking at the last 24 hours of radar. And we had some powerful storms moving across the North Country yesterday afternoon. And then we were watching this line develop in western Minnesota. And you can see how everything just runs out of steam as it makes its way towards the Twin Cities. And even this morning, more thunderstorms coming in and running out of steam, dying basically right there on the radar. That's because we've had a lid or a cap on the atmosphere over the Twin Cities, southeast Minnesota, even parts of central Minnesota. And as those storms run into that lid, that cap, nothing can become of it. And that's why we saw things really running out of steam. We are going to have a relatively quiet pattern today again. We're going to be watching Wednesday, though. Wednesday could have a couple of rounds of storms for us. And then also yesterday, take a look at this. Triple-digit heat indices all afternoon long, right into the evening. Still felt like 100 degrees at MSP yesterday at 10 o'clock at night. Sun is down, still feeling just sultry outside. You would expect those heat indices to drop off into the overnight hours, but overnight heat indices in the mid-70s make it tough to cool down. Today, not quite as bad. Heat index likely be into the mid-90s. We do have a cold front coming in, believe it or not. And it's called a cold front, but it won't make it feel cold. But that front is going to drop in, should land somewhere across southeast Minnesota later on this evening. It'll take a little bit out of the humidity, especially for our friends in northern Minnesota, but it also sets up a boundary right about where we're seeing that rain right now. This rain that was coming through in the last couple hours should see the return of some isolated thunderstorms in that direction later on. In the meantime, severe clear, I call it. Beautiful blue skies, but that sun's going to be out. The temperatures are climbing and the humidity is going to be relatively high. So if you're out in that open air in that blazing sunshine, it is going to have a little bit of a sting to it. The shade obviously is going to feel a lot nicer outside, but it's not as bad as yesterday. Here's a look at those dew points in that front. Like I said, it's going to be dropping to the southeast, and later on this evening, there'll still be 60s and 70s on the map, but look what's going on back to the northwest, upper 50s. It is going to feel significantly nicer in parts of western and northern Minnesota. And then we get a little surge in those dew points tomorrow. We're going to see the return of some showers and thunderstorms, especially across the southern half of our region. Here's a look at today. And again, our heat index likely going to get up into those mid-90s. We could see some areas hit about 100 degrees. Daytime highs should get about 91, 92, and then dropping up. But notice, even into the overnight hours, mid-70s, it's going to be tough to cool down. So we do have a heat advisory until 9 o'clock. This is where we could have that triple-digit heat index. Extreme heat warning, that's when you're talking 105 or better. That's tucked away, southeast Minnesota and the southern half of Wisconsin. So better than yesterday. And you can see how it lines up with your heat risk potential. Those areas that could see that triple-digit heat index in red. And again, talking about 105 down there for the purple. Tomorrow, 2 rounds of storms, and that really cuts into that heat risk. Then we go into Thursday, still some thunderstorm activity, and yes, we move from minor to moderate, but we're staying away from major and extreme there. Let's get to Friday. Again, a little uptick there. Not as much rain. Wednesday looks like it is the best day for storms. Not as much rain there on Friday, so you would expect that heat risk to climb. And then we get into Saturday, the 4th of July. Not too bad. Certainly could be worse. Could be better, though. And then by Sunday, a lot of us are going to see that drop off. So, again, there's kind of light at the end of the tunnel here, but certainly not seeing a significant drop in heat or humidity. We're not going back to feeling like spring, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And you can see with those dew points, they kind of hang out in the 60s, but we're noticing a little bit of a drop off there, just enough to take it out of the 70s. Get us away from what Monday felt like, at least. That's how things are looking. Severe weather potential. We're going to be watching those thunderstorms late tonight into tomorrow morning. That's where that area towards Laverne is. This is going to be this afternoon. And then you take a look at tomorrow, and the Storm Prediction Center is upped from the cities south, has upped it to enhanced. And so we're talking about some thunderstorms and some strong ones, hail, and especially wind, but we're not going to rule out the possibility of an isolated tornado or two for tomorrow into those afternoon hours. Here's your microcast. And again, like I said, later on this evening, right where we're seeing it now, isolated thunderstorms there. Then we get into Wednesday morning, and here comes the first round, and these are going to push to the north and northeast. I'd say between about 7 and 11 o'clock, best chance around the Twin Cities. These will get out of here. It'll be quiet for a time. Little bit of isolated passing rain. This is the next round. And again, we're talking about discrete or individual thunderstorms. This is our tornado risk. And then notice how it just pushes east. Keep in mind, these are going to produce some pretty strong winds. These will be big wind machines and quite possibly some very large hail. That takes us into Thursday morning. So Wednesday, late night, overnight, it's going to be some rough weather. Then we're going to go Thursday night into Friday. Right here, we're going to have another round of thunderstorms in the area, and then we're going to watch what happens for the 4th of July there. Some isolated evening thunderstorms. And I think we're going to be looking into parts of northern Minnesota as well for those isolated thunderstorms there. Sunday and Monday, can you believe it? Sunday, we're going to call it seasonal. Temperatures about where they're supposed to be. Not quite as humid. You'll still feel the humidity, but again, kind of light at the end of the tunnel, folks.